You are now an Azure administrator in your company, and you are requested, based on an existing role, you are requested to create a custom role. For this example, I chose a Key Vault contributor, but keep in mind that it can be any other role that you can use or that you can start with. And usually the exam day, what I saw is that you're gonna get a code snippet like this one, and you'll be asked to fill in the missing gaps. Like in this example, I didn't see any other question that they asked. Basically, they want you to know how to, actually they want you to know the basics. So in this case, what you see here is the first line is Key Vault contributor. So this is the starting role that you are given. And in the end, so here I'll just explain briefly. So you're gonna give the new custom role ID, the name, description, the actions that you want this new role to have. The subscription, of course, this is not the real one. And then you have the second gap that you are requested to fill in. Now, what you have to remember, and we'll go again in the documentation to see what they say. What you have to remember is that for the first code snippet here, for the first blank here, the thing that you have to do is actually to get the existing role. And that's why the correct answer here is get AZ row definition, because you are starting from this row. Then for the second blank here, so after you describe your role, here you need to know that in order to create the new role, you'll have to use this command, new AZ role definition, and not create AZ role definition, because I think this is maybe for the first one it's not that confusing, but I think the second question can be quite confusing, because instead of new, people might think that, especially in the beginning when people are not very used with PowerShell, they might think that create is the correct answer, which is not true. And we go to the documentation, and as usual, I'll put down below the link where you can find this information. And if you search for create custom role, actually I've already done that, and you go here, so create a custom role. Actually, I put the link here directly, so it will be way easier for you to find this. Then you go down below here, and you see here the first line is get AZ role definition, and after you add all the actions that you want your role to have, then you add new AZ role definition. So keep in mind, I don't, as I've already mentioned, I don't expect any other question, like, I don't know, add an action or maybe action clear. This I didn't see, so don't bother too much to remember. Anyway, in real life, you're gonna have this code. You won't have to remember anything, not even get AZ role definition or new AZ role definition. I mean, it's easier if you know them, but in real life, from my experience, I never had to know this by heart. For the next example, we have a company that has set up an Azure account and a subscription. Under this subscription, this company has lots of resources, of course, but I chose 3 virtual machines with the same SKU size. So standard DS1 V2. These virtual machines are part of a resource group as well, but for the sake of simplification, I didn't draw it. And there are also a bunch of IT administrators, in this case John, Sophie, and Mark, and you are requested to say what would be the solution if you want that these IT admins are able to spin up virtual machines of a particular SKU size, in this case this one. And you are given different scenarios, different options. You can create an RBAC role. Is that possible? It's up to you to say. Or assign the appropriate AD role to the IT admin group. Create an Azure policy and assign it to the subscription. Or assign the appropriate subscription policy to the IT admin group. What would you do? In this case, the answer it's already highlighted. So you create an Azure policy and assign it to the subscription. Why do you do that? And this is quite important to know. And even in real world, this is a scenario. This is quite common and it's quite used. You use Azure policies because they are used for governance purposes. And actually, if you want to control permission at the resource property level, in this case for VMs, then you need to create an Azure policy and then assign it to your subscription. The other answers are not correct. For example, create RBAC role. It's for the same reason. It's because you cannot control permission for a particular resource using RBAC role. The second one is not correct because Azure AD roles are specifically meant to control access to Azure AD. And the last one is also not correct because there is no concept of subscription policies. So the only reason, actually the only correct answer is Azure policy. And of course, don't forget to assign it to the subscription. Otherwise, the policy is created, but it's not in use. So it will not really help you in this situation.